Let's talk a little bit about CRO today because there's a very interesting few posts that I found today that I want to share with you. I'm going to look through these, a post coming out from one of the community members talking about how if you had put $1,000 into CRO in 2019 today, it would still be worth $1,000. Crypto.com putting out a tweet about Q3 and bullish activity. I want to get to that. And I want to talk about an update that I saw on this news story surrounding Crypto.com and the sports event contracts and their battle in Nevada, as well as some of the price action for CRO that we're seeing today as Bitcoin is playing a little bit of a game of volatility anywhere from 103 to 105. Are we moving back to 110 or are we moving back down to $100,000? And what comes for CRO? Well, these are things I'm going to explore with you guys in this video. Welcome back to the Crypto Report, everybody. I'm Crypto Kip. Do me a favor, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the stories. So we've talked about this news story a few times on this channel. Well, I've done one video on it myself, but what I didn't see about this story is why Crypto.com had to kind of battle Nevada and what Nevada had actually done here. Well, finally, somebody actually put the language in here, and it is official that the reason Crypto.com is now engaged in a lawsuit with the state of Nevada over these sports event contracts is a cease and desist order that Nevada had sent out. So officially, this is the news, and I wasn't quite sure what Nevada had done specifically, but Nevada had issued a cease and desist order trying to shut down Crypto.com's operation. And the language kind of looked like that, but officially I didn't see that there was actual cease and desist order put out there against Crypto.com on this. Well, this is why Crypto.com is now calling for an injunction, because as I've talked about with you guys, they have gotten the regulatory approval from the governing body federally to be able to do these sports event contracts. That is through the CFTC. Now, state by state, there are different regulations, but federally, Crypto.com wins here. Does that fly in the state of Nevada? And is this going to be a victory for Crypto.com? I would say yes. I do not think that Nevada can block them out from providing this service to their clients. And again, there's a flurry of services that Crypto.com is planning on offering in a regulatory compliant way. Banking, you've got the ETFs coming later this year. You've got so many different things going on, from the Crypto.com card to they've got options trading. They've got the sports event contracts, as we looked at. Their exchange is officially live in the USA, right? This exchange is actually happening. It is North America's largest exchange, and they have come this far because of how careful they are in moving forward with everything. What I also want to talk about is this post from Crypto.com here about this explosion, little asterisks, Q3, and a rocket ship. So what they're saying in this cryptic, not so cryptic tweet is they believe that Q3, the third quarter of this year, 2025, is going to be bullish for CRO or crypto overall. Very interesting. I'm going to come back to this. Considering this fact, if you had invested $1,000 into CRO tokens 6 years ago, you would still only have $1,000 today. Now, that might be disappointing to some people, and no doubt, right? Because if you had put $1,000 in Bitcoin 6 years ago today, well, you'd probably be looking at maybe $10,000 or something like that, right? Bitcoin could have been probably around, I'm thinking 2019, June 2nd. Well, let's look at that, actually. Let's look at the facts. So in 2019, in June of 2019, where was Bitcoin? Bitcoin in June of 2019, let me zoom out a little bit. This is a valuable exercise to do and something to explore. Bitcoin in 2019, June. We got to go way back. Zoom out. June 2019 would be right here. Was that $9,000? Yes. You would have 10x your money on Bitcoin. But if you held CRO, you'd be flat to calm. Now, along the way, there have been pretty excellent price spikes. And I don't know if that's necessarily, a fair snapshot, this tweet that we're looking at here, because in July of 2019, CRO was spiking up quite a bit. If you go back to 2019, you'll see that this was kind of a time, June of 2019, you'll see that this was a time where this thing was actually a lot higher. Now, this chart actually doesn't go all the way back there, but is it a time where things were kind of spiking up, and then we had a lull before, the bull market blasted to highs in 2021. I would argue that this move right here, kind of what you're seeing here, okay, is probably where we're at right here, okay? And we've probably yet have this move to come yet, the big parabolic explosion. And very simply put, why does that make sense to me? Well, because when you look at the way that Bitcoin dominance works out, Bitcoin dominance shows what percentage of all the money invested in crypto is in Bitcoin. That's at 64%. What we're going to see is over time, this is going to collapse, right? 2019. So this thing spiked up through that year, came down a little bit, and then boom, it absolutely collapsed. Then we had the big blow off top for our altcoins. And this is when altcoin did this move, right? This move for Bitcoin dominance circled here is when CRO made this move to the upside. So what I'm saying is you had an opportunity in 2019 and in 2021 around these peaks, right? For Bitcoin dominance collapsing and the price of CRO going to almost $1 to take profit. And we've talked about these 4-year cycles. Now, the most bullish part of CRO's performance for this cycle is still yet to come, in my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to give financial advice. I think it's a little bit of an unfair snapshot here because 2019 was a moment where crypto was hot for a second. It came back down, and then it had a better move. It got up to $1 almost. You could have taken profit, and you could have DCA'd in back in at 4 cents and taken really a nice low position. If you had gotten into CRO with profit from 90 cents back in the day and you buy it at below 10 cents, again, you have another opportunity to potentially 10x that money if it goes back to $1, and I do think that it could. Clearly, crypto.com is quite bullish, putting out this post about Q3. Now, do I think that Q3 is going to be the time? I think it's hard to say. Just because crypto.com tweets about Q3 and a rocket ship doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get an altcoin rally. But I do believe at some point Bitcoin dominance is going to start coming back down. However, it's going to be contingent upon, I think, the Fed rate cut and tariff news. Tariff news, of course, leaving the Fed fearful to cut the rate because they're worried that it could impact inflation. This is a story we've heard time and time again. But eventually, we will get bullish for altcoins again at some point, and I don't think that Crypto.com, who's making so many moves in the crypto space, from having these sports event contracts and fighting the good fight in court and offering banking services, I think they're going to have their day in the sun again. And you know what? Their day towards the moon again. And maybe what they mean on this Q3 post is something towards the Cronos ETF. The Cronos ETF is coming, guys. One thing that this post right here does not take into consideration is, okay, this is a period of time where it's a fact. If you had put $1,000 in July 12th of 2019 and it was at 10 cents, and you're still holding it at 10 cents today, yes, obviously you've made no money. But what we don't have is a Cronos ETF that has existed, or any hope that a Cronos ETF would exist at this point in time. At that point in time, CRO was not one of the top exchanges. And right now, we're not seeing an altcoin season. So it's very convenient timing to have a snapshot like this, though this is a fact, and CRO's price action is certainly disappointing, especially compared to Bitcoin. When you look at just the snapshot of July 12, 2019 till today, I don't think that it really takes into consideration altcoin seasons, Bitcoin dominance, and the macroeconomic picture that we have going on right now with risk on assets overall, the Fed, tariffs, and the conversation going on regarding the advancements in this crypto space, not just for crypto.com, but for this asset class as a whole, leading me to be excited like crypto.com is showing in this post. I'm not a financial advisor, guys. This video is something to just kind of give you guys an update on what I believe is possible for CRO. I think a CRO coin can easily hit $1 at some point in the future. I think these are beautiful discounted prices. If you are taking profit when things are overbought and you are buying when things are oversold, and then we get another move to the upside again, that's a very simple way to do it. Some people are just buying and holding CRO because they believe one day it's going to be at $2 or $5 or $10 or maybe even higher because the Cronos ETF is going to be spectacular. If that's what you believe in, well, I understand why. Crypto.com is a very powerful company. It's a very successful exchange, and Bitcoin is certainly here to stay. But I think that the most exciting thing about CRO for me is that it's an altcoin. There are altcoin rallies. We haven't seen that yet. And I like to buy low, sell high through these cycles. Maybe this is an extended cycle, but I think it's still too early to tell. What we got to focus on right now is the news. We're going to keep news updates coming your way every single day on this channel, on CRO, on the rest of the crypto market, and continue to trade as well. If you want to do some trading, you could sign up for Blofin using the link I've got in the description for you guys down below. A great platform to trade Bitcoin, CRO, whatever you might want to trade out there, whether it's a meme coin or some of your favorite altcoins. Up to a $5,000 deposit bonus when you do sign up. That's all I have in this one, guys. I'm Crypto Kip. Smash the like, subscribe, DCA Hold. 2 videos here if you want to check them out. I'll see you in the next one, folks. Peace.